and the different categories of testings we have been discussed over here. And we have been discussed about the other terminologies, which is called memory leakages and then resource starvation. So then we have been seeing that how the durability testing will be done in the infrastructure. We have all means even we have been discussed the vertical scaling, and then we have been discussed about the horizontal scaling also. So these are the things which we have been discussed, and then we kept it for the DB and then security testing. So these are the things which we wanted to cover. So what are the different type of testings here in the DB, or different type of testings we will be having in the security? Means we discussed what are the different topic, means the different layers of testing performs here, and then what are the different type of testings performed in the API and the backend layer, and what are the different type of testings and the things happens in the UI layer. So now even we discuss the performance. Now this layer and this layer is what pending. The things we need to discuss is, hey, what are the different type of testings we can perform in the DB? So those are the things which we will be trying to check now. Okay, so DB testing is also very important. These people are very less in the market. So these people are called as the DB testers or the ETL testers. So what exactly that particular topics we are going to discuss for today. So this is what the quick recap. So what we have been discussed yesterday. So now before jumping into this particular DB and then security, is there any questions for me on these particular topics which we have been discussed?
You say one more about the volume testing.
Mm-hmm. You want me to repeat the volume testing?
Yes, sir. And why? Because like till now we are associating like whatever we are studying with the general examples and general day-to-day daily activity. So in that regard, load and volume both is almost having same meaning. So it is hard to differentiate between the two.
Hmm. Even I
And
told you, right?
in
So
that regard,
almost both are similar until unless you get into that hairline differences, that would be having the differences. But even now, okay, I'll try to give more informative. So here in load, see, this is one of the basic difference. I'll be saying it because load or heavy load or the volume. See now, heavy load or volume, both are same. Flooded is means this is a synonyms of this same category of testing. Now in load, what we will try to do is, our intention is to give certain load. We do multiple iterations. So we will first you give
sir,
small
suddenly
load.
you became mute. Your voice became mute. Sir,
Is it
suddenly your
audible?
voice became mute, so we couldn't listen to
Is
you.
it audible now? Still it
Yes, sir.
is
Now
mute.
it's audible. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So now if you see here, if you see here, uh, this is load and then this is a heavy load. We will call it as a heavy load or flooded. Okay, or this is called as volume testing. Now what is the basic difference between these three? So, these three are same, and difference between the load, if you see in the load, what we will try to do is, we will start with the minimal loads, with the small loads, and we will do multiple iterations. Now for an example, this particular application have the capacity of 10,000 users. Now, when I wanted to do the load testing, I'll perform it's starting with 100 users, then I go with 200 users, then I go with the 500 users, then I go with the 1,000 users, then I give it with the 2,500 users, then I go for 3,000, 5,000. Because what is my load test report is, this will shows that, hey, if you've given this many number of users, so this would be the speed of your application. So either it from the front end or it from the APIs. So it will say that if you means it's a consistent growth on these particular users, and it will check on each number. So from the smallest number to the up means to the toppest number, and they do comparison between these particular two things. Hey, when you're given with the 100 users, how it is performing it. When you're given with the 500 users, how it is performing it. And when you're given 1,000 users, how it is performing it. And 2,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, and you get that particular benchmarks and compare this particular benchmarks with the lower benchmarks. So now when we get the 1,000 users and when we get the 8,000 or 9,000 users, so how this the both things has been performing. So now based upon this one, for an example here, if for a particular request it is taking 800 milliseconds. Now for a particular request, if it is 100 users, 800 milliseconds it taken, means that's it, right? If you go for a hotel, if you are a single person, if you given an order, you will get in 2 minutes. The same thing if you have 20 people in the same hotel, and if you are ordered for something, it takes 5 minutes to 7 minutes. The same way here, if you have 8,000 users, okay, to make the number change, 7,000 users are there. So when it is 7,000 users, I request for same idli, but it will takes approximately 2 seconds. See, now with 100 users, it taken 800 milliseconds to get it back. With 7,000 users, it was taking 2 seconds. Means I told you, right? 800 milliseconds means 1,000 milliseconds will make 1 second. Means it was doubled the time. So now it taken 2 seconds, 2 seconds of time to get this particular order when it is 7,000 people load. So now what the team need to do is, hey, how best we can reduce this 2 seconds to 800 milliseconds. So this would be the objective, or this would be the analysis which we will do it in the load testing. But whereas into this particular heavy load testing, I know the break even point. For example, I know that stress testing will gives me a break even point that, hey, 10,000 users is the maximum capacity of your application. Now, what I do it in the heavy or this particular volume testing, I test the application with 8,000 users or 9,000 users. No multiple iterations. I just wanted to see with this heavy load how this application is sustainable, or whether the application is scalable or not. See, now in load testing, I do less scalability testing, but here I can do the scalability very easy, right? The horizontal scalability means what I'll try to do. Hey, if I have 9,000 load, right, immediately whether it is spinning up with the instances or not. If I given this particular load, how the application is behaving or not. So only these things. See, now you need to derive the objective. See, now the objective of the testing is different, but we are doing the same thing. Example, you are driving the car, okay? You are going for Hyderabad and you are going for Singapore, or you just boarded a flight. You can take this example. This will be much more easier. You boarded a flight. Your destination is different, but the flight you have been boarded means you are traveling by air. So you're going to Hyderabad or you're going to Singapore. Now, what you need to understand over here is your mode is same, giving the load, but what is your end objective? Destination is most important for you, or the outcome of this one is most important for you. So, outcome for this one is we give terrific load, we check the scaling is working or not, means auto scaling is working or not, and whether the application is sustainable with this particular load, and is it stable or not. This is the basic output we will be expecting it. Here what we do is we give multiple loads, multiple iteration of loads, and we will see that how in the different loads the application is behaving, and how the application is stable, and how the application is scalable, and how the application is means speed, and then it do the comparisons and bring the benchmarks. See, why I kept these two things separate means, whoever the SM is, performance SM is, only they will touch this particular volume and durability. Apart from that, these four things would be achieved. So if you wanted to achieve these two things, you should have much more knowledge in the performance testing, because that's a hairline difference, and the objectives and the outcomes of this one is different. But similar means this will have the similar activities. So now what this guy can means with the heavy load can do is, at one shot it gives a heavy load to the application, and try to see this one, not multiple iterations and doing this one. So this is what the basic difference which you can identify from the load and then heavy load. For more information, if you wanted, I can share you some articles. You can go through that. Okay.
Sir, one question. For the load
Mhm.
testing and the
Okay.
volume,
Yes.
do you use the same tool or any different tools?
See, when if you say that the tool, the performance tool is there, almost all this
Mm-hmm.
that need to support for all the six categories. 99%
Okay.
it should support. Then only it will call as a performance tool. See, now we do have J meter. There are a good number of tools are there. JMeter, K6, Neurunner, load. Okay, first open source tool. So JMeter, Gatling, K6, and Locust. So these are the open source tools, automation tools. If you wanted to talk about commercial tools, LoadRunner, WindRunner, Neurunner, and NeoWeb, and K6, Gatling community means commercial version, and another tool is also there, Ninja Runner. So now these are the tools which are commercial tools. So means we need to pay, and you always remember, load testing means the performance testing tools are a bit expensive. So per month it will charge around $9,000, or okay, with a minimum of $6,000 to $9,000. So these tools are a little bit expensive because they wanted to generate with all these options, features, and everything. It would be a little bit costly, but the companies will prefer to do everything with the open source tools, which we can achieve the things from this one. So probably the Gatling other tools can have the capacity to do this all. If any tool is there, 99% it should have the capability to do the all categories of testing.
Okay.
Got
Thank
it? Any other questions?
you. Yes, sir. Thank
Okay, so now let's talk about DB testing or ETL testing so that we can understand. Okay, let's talk about DB or ETL. Hmm. Okay, what is this? DB and ETL. What is the difference between this? First of all, what do you mean by ETL? Extract, transform, load.
you. Sir,
So we
ETL
have,
is basically the big
hmm?
data, right? Big volume of data, ETL.
The voice is not clarity for me. So you're saying that it will be ETL will be due for the volume of data.
Yeah, big volume of data, like big data or some kind of large volume of
Uh,
data.
Probably, yeah. So it will be handling with the different sections. If you have huge number of data, you need to go with the ETL testing. Yes,
Thank you.
and ETL is there, and ELT is also there. ELT, ETL, ELT. Will the definition will say different? No, the same thing. It will come here. That's it. Extract, load, transform. Extract, transform, and load. That's it. So that's the basic differences between them. But the conceptual, the implementation wise, this is different and this is different. But the terminology is same. Okay, DB. First of all, we'll come from one by one. So why we wanted to rush? What do you means we have DB testing. Okay, what do you mean by DB testing? The name itself, it was
The
saying
data,
okay, database. Okay, now in the database, what we will test? What we will test in the database?
the table,
Sir, given details are entered in the data, saved in the database or not.
Hmm, good one.
Consistent.
So now, for an example, I'll give you the live example, real-time example, so that it is easy for you people to understand. Hmm? Now, you got Swiggy app or Ola app. Immediately, what we'll do? This guy will ask you to give you sign up. Immediately, we will what we do. We will be not so active, so that what we do, we can log in with your Gmails, so that it can take the data from there. Why I need to enter? so that what we will think that it is easiest way to do it. But what this guy you do now, if you do this, he gets your complete information from the Gmail, all your coordinates, what your preferences, all the data, because you said Gmail and allow to access my data. You've given permission, he will access all your data from the Gmail. Okay, anyways, I'm sorry, I'm deviated. So now you have doing the sign up. Okay, you entered your means mobile number, name, and email, so those details, right? And then you click the button sign up. As soon you click this sign up, this request, what it will take, it takes all these particular data, okay, as a request, and it will go to the DB, means database, and then it will create a record, means a row, saying that, hey, this is Chris, and this is his number 666, and then the email is Chris001, and then this it is. It will create a record over here. It will insert the record into DB. What do you mean by DB means? DB is nothing but database. What do you mean by database? First, don't complicate too much. You have your phone, right? In your phone, you have your memory, right? Internal memory, external memory. Why you have this internal memory, external memory? Why you have
To
your
store the data.
memory? That's it. You need to store the data, right? Whatever the mobile data you have it, you take in some pictures or whatever the data you you wanted to store. You need to store the data into your phone, right? Without storing the data, can you retrieve it? See, now you wanted to get a picture of yours. You wanted to bring the picture of yours. So without having that picture in your phone, can you see that? Obviously not, because
No.
if the picture is there, then you can see it. If the picture is not there, you can't see it. Simple. So now somewhere else you need to store all your data, your downloads, your voices, your social media pictures, all the things you need to store it, right? So you stored all the information related to your phone, then that is called your internal memory and the external memory, right? The same way for an application, for Swiggy application, it need to store some data, means who is the user, who means, see, now for Chris is a user. Now yesterday night what he have been ordered, I ordered for some chicken rice and then chicken strips and all the things I have been ordered. Now what is the billing amount he have been done, what is the comments or reviews he have, and day before yesterday what he have been ordered, how many orders he placed, he is placing a more, I mean, what are the data or the comments the Swiggy delivery boy has been given. All these particular data will be stored somewhere else. So this particular data, it need to be stored somewhere else, so that is where it's stored into the DB. Like this, all some thousands and thousands of customers are there, all thousands customers information they'll be storing in the databases. That is called database. Now when you wanted to store lots of data, for an example, you have lots and lots of data, it need to be stored into your phone, then what do? You extend your memory, 32 GB RAM to 32 GB to 64 GB extendable. You extend always, or you can keep your external external card for 254 or 256 GB space, because you have more amount of data to store. The same way, if you have a bigger configuration, then that is called server. Then this is called as we are storing the data, so then this is called as DB server. How simple is this? So previously we need to say that it is a DB server. So to understand the DB server, now we understand what is DB, and with the high configurations, if you're storing, then this is called DB server. So you store all the data of user, means your application's data you'll be storing over here, right? Now, first of all, when you are inserting, okay, you said that I do this sign up. So when I have been sign up, so whether the data is properly inserting into the tables, these things you need to check it, right? Example, now what we have done, it will ask you to save your credit card details for your next transaction. Always what we do, we give the credit card number, 16-digit credit card number, CCV number also will give, all the things you will ask to save. Now what this guy will take, and then it will save. From security point of view, when I talk about the security testing, I'll talk about it. But from the database point of view, I'm talking about the database point of view. Now I inserted the 16-digit number, but see, always the data will be stored in the databases as tables. What do you mean by tables? It will have rows and columns. That's it. These are the columns and these are the rows. So now each and every record, so here I'll be writing serial number or unique number, a name, mobile number, email ID, and blah, 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 whatever the data is required. And if you need some other information, complaints, then he will maintain another table. So then this unique number, he will map it to this. Because some record need to be matched for me, right? So here all my name, address, phone number, email ID. But all my orders, he need to maintain another table because he can't maintain everything in single table. So he maintain order table. In the order table for this table and this table, I should match with one particular column, right? Here I will give it as 007. And day before yesterday's order. And he have another table. And in another table, what he will try to do? He keeps all the complaints. Hey, 007. So this guy complained on this so and so, the food is not good. This guy means on this guy, someone has been means the delivery boy has complained that he is not reachable. Like this, I have multiple tables. The data would be mapped with a unique key. This is called as a primary key. Primary key is nothing but which is a unique and it can be mapped to other tables is called the primary key. But you're talking about to talk about that one, you should understand these basics. So that's the reason I was trying to give you this particular basic topics. I have multiple tables. Yep.
Sir, sometimes your voice is not audible. It is going on in the phone.
I'm really sorry. I have full network and I have directly connected my jack to laptop itself.
Oh,
I still
okay,
don't
sir.
know if it was happening, but you can please stop me if you're not able to hear. Anyone can give me instructions with that stop.
Okay, sir.
So when
Okay.
you're talking about a third table, your voice became.
Okay, so this table, it is like a compliance table, complaining table. So for an example, hey, this guy always return back my food, or always this guy will complain that food is not good, food is not good. Like that, he will give the complaints. So I have my number, and on the so and so date, he has been given this particular complaint. Why? Because if one particular guy giving regularly the complaints, then they will not honor him. They will not refund the money. If you're rarely giving the order, so that they can give you back the money. But every order, if you're starting complaining, so they will not entertain to pay you back the money. So like that, that's the reason they will keep all this particular information into this particular tables. Now you see here, there are a lot of tables. Now, there are a lot of validations and checks we will be trying to do it. The most important validations in the DB or ETL, I'll not go into the details of this one because it's a huge, I'll show you that particular things also. The most important things in all these particular categories is two things. One is quantity versus quality. What do you meant by quantity? What do you meant by quantity? Quantity, nothing but the date means. For an example, in a particular table, I have 1,000 rows. Now there are 1,000 users. I'm sorry, 1,000 users in the user table. Now I have another table which depends upon this particular user table. How many rows I should have here? Means all means, means here this is consider that this is an address table. How many rows I should have it?
1,000.
1,000 only, right? So
1,000
if
rows.
I have 1,000 users, if I am there, I should have 1,000 rows here in address or the phone number on the email, because without address, phone number, I can't register to anyone. consider that address is a mandatory. So later on it was mandatory, but now you consider that for this example, the address is mandatory. If I have 1,000 users here, I should have 1,000 rows here. Means the quantity of this particular table should match with this particular quantity, right? If it is missing, there would be a problem, right? Now for an example, now if I'm transferring this particular data to any other table, now what I'm trying to do is I have two different tables. One is users table and next table is users address and phone number. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to create a master table which I wanted to merge these both tables. Makes sense, right? Boss, why I need to maintain two tables? I wanted to merge for any requirement or anything. User data is when we have been merged here, I have 1,000 users. I validated all the users are came here. Now when I merge with address, I have only 990. 10 users are missing. See now what it was happening. I'm extracting the data here and loading the data here. When I was loading the data into here, I missed this particular 10 records. Okay. So I extracted the data from these tables and I was merging into this particular tables. I lost this particular records. I need to validate. Yep. Go ahead.
Why? Because like that means 10 will come means one person have to address, they change address and name is the same, sir. Like that it will be there, I think.
See now on analysis of why it is missing, then you are giving me the answer. But you should identify that the 10 records are missing, right? First of all.
Yes.
See now what you need to do as soon as you have been merged, what is your first check you will be doing it? Whether
ID.
Whether I have been, see for an example, I'll just give you one small example. I have some 1,000 packets I given to you. I asked you to go and deliver to someone else. When you delivered 995 packets. The first check what he will do is, hey, what is the count of packets you have been given to me? 995. Then he will ask, what is the reason for missing 5? So here first you should know how many reached safely and how many is missing then. And then what is the reason for missing? Then that is later. Then you can say that is duplicated, or in my travel, I missed this, I broken. So that's the reason it wasted, or the count is missed. So that you will be giving it. So now when it started from here, it is 1,000. But when it is reaching, it is 1,000 or not from the different tables. That's the first validation you do. So that is what the quantity checking. And the missing of this particular quantity, you'll be doing validation. Hey, why this is missed? This is called quantity checking. Now you see here, I extracted all the data from these particular tables, and then I have been loaded this particular data into this. So how to extract, how to load? So there are different queries to do it. Okay, don't worry what you meant by query. See now, I asked you to bring, hey, can you bring me some water? So I given an instruction, you have did it. So for DB, if I wanted to give an instructions, so we will use the query language. Query is what, hey, you insert, you delete, you modify. So those are all things. If I wanted to give an instruction, I'll give a queries. That's it. Very simple. What is query language? How to write the queries to insert? How to delete this one? Those things are not really required for me as of now. Just you need to understand the terminology, what you meant by query. Okay, I understand the query means it's a language of communication to that particular DB tables. Means if I wanted to fetch the data, I wanted to delete the data, I use the query language.
Is it nothing but SQL also?
Yes. SQL means what? Structured query language.
Query language.
That's it. See, I don't want to introduce different languages over here, or different terms. You might get confused, but whatever it is required for us now, just I was trying to bring that particular terminologies. Okay. Now I brought up this particular tables. I extracted the data Means extracted means taken the data from these particular tables and I have been loaded into this particular data. And then first thing what I was trying to check, this particular, the quantity checkings I have been done. And I know that, hey boss, here the 1000 records are there, but here 10 records are missing. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well. So please bear with me. And secondly, the one is the quality checking. What do you mean by quality? Hey, for an example, there are two users. Okay, three users, Chris, Bugs, and Sam. Three people are there. Now, Chris username, okay, password is 007, and this guy's password is 006. This guy password is 005. Example. It has been, okay, so here it went Chris 007, Bugs 006, Sam 005. Now, when we have these passwords, it has been interchanged when I was loading the data into this thing. Means for Chris, it got Bugs 006, Bugs got 005, S005, and Sam got Chris 007. Is this, see now, the data reached, 990 records are reached. Or consider that 1000 records are also reached. But the data is improper. Will it be valid or will it make sense? Now, address of Chris was exchanged with Sam. Sam's address is exchanged with Bugs. Will it be okay?
No.
Now, the data should be appropriate. The data traveling should be appropriate because the data is traveling from this table to this table, right? In traveling, there might be any mishaps happen. So properly, the data should reach to the respective tables. Now, I stored my credit card number 16 digit, but the cell length is only 12 digits. What it will try to do? It will truncate the data. Truncate means it cut the data. Means even though if I have 16 digit, it will store only 12 digits. What happened to 4 digits, remaining 4 digits? Gone. Can I go back to the customer and say, boss, can you give me again your credit card details? Will you give? So you have to be very much cautious because every cell, see now, this is columns, this is rows, this is cell, right? This is called cell data. Whatever the value which is inside the cell, this is called cell data. We should validate each and every cell data also, so that you need to compare the cell data. Hey, whether the data is truncated, or for example, for a Chris, his password is reached or not. It shouldn't be null. Null means nothing is there. Or okay, null means it will come as null. Empty means nothing would be there. See here, when you are when we are having that particular record, Chris have his address, but when that particular for Chris, here it come, for any reason it might come as null, for any reason it might come as empty also. We need to check this particular cell data, whether this particular cell have the proper data or not, whether the cell data is null or whether the cell data is empty. So you need to validate each and every cell's data for checking the quality. And here I can store the mobile number 9850 This is mobile number. Now, when I wanted to store this particular mobile number, instead of mobile number, can I store any particular name? Because this is numerics. The data type of this one is numeric. It should store only numerics. It shouldn't store alphabets, whether it properly stored or not. There are lots and lots and lots of these particular validations would be there. I'll just try to show you the basic how we originally validate these all. Okay, so that you can understand means how many validations we can do on this. I'll take you to some documentation. So usually how we will do it. What are the validations which we will try to do it? See now, these all validations we can do it. These are the different type of testings we do it. Okay, validate the source table and then target table structure. First thing that we need to validate, right? A destination is this master table. In source, I have name and ID. Another table I have address, email ID, phone number. Now in my destination, I should have ID, name, address, email, phone. So that when I started to merge this one, all the data go and then store here. You need to understand this particular tables. This is called schema. Schema is nothing but array structure. The basic structure of that particular sorry, the basic structure of the table. So now in this particular structure, hey, whether all these particular columns data or cells data can be traveled from here to this particular table, and we need to accommodate them properly, right? See, we can invite all our friends, hey, come, but we need to accommodate all our friends also comfortably. So now when you are asking them to merge all this particular data, you should able to properly guide them. Hey, name, you go and store here. ID, you go and store here, because first name here, ID is there. But here when it comes to there, ID first, name there. Whatever the values in name, go and sit here. Whatever the ID values, you go and sit here. And E means based upon this particular ID value here. Now, this is the primary key for us. Get this particular data, go and accommodate appropriately here. Okay. And first you will be understanding this particular table schema. According to this particular table schema, you should properly map the things. Mapping. Hey, this column data need to go to this column. This column data need to go to this column. We will map it, right? So according to that mapping, all this particular data will transfer to these particular tables. And we do, first of all, we do the quantity checking, then we do the quality checking. As part of quality checking, what all the things we will be doing is, so this is the big list, what we will do it. Data types, length of the data, field types, and all this. I'll not get into this into the details because it takes lots and lots of time, and this is specialized in terms of DB and then ETL testing. So you can at least you can see this columns: constraint validation, data consistency, completeness, correctness, transformation, data quality. So these are the things we'll be doing it: null validations, duplicate check, date validations, complete data check, data cleanliness, and then mapping document validation. And the same way, this is metadata testing, data completeness testing, data quality testing, transformation testing, and ETL categories. Now, what exactly we wanted to say from this particular DB testing is, DB testing is altogether, it's a separate subject. Now you seen it, right? Performance testing as together, it's a separate category of testing. We do have performance SMS. Same way for DB and ETL, we will be having a separate category of testers, which is called as DB testers or ETL testers. And ETL testers, as I given you the example, now I have extracted the data and loaded the data here. What do you meant by transformation means, during your journey, if you change, then this is called transformation. Example, the value of something is here 5. When it reached to the destination, it will go as 25, because the logic of the transformation is 5 into 5. Into 5 is the logic. So based upon this particular logic, from this table to this table, when it was transforming or when it was going, it transformed into this and then it reached to this. So that is what the transformation. So that is where it is called as extract, transform, load. Extract, transform, load. See, these are the basic steps. See, now in one of the maybe we seen it, right? In triple R, aim, load, aim, shoot. So means that's a procedure, steps to shoot. The same way, this is to load the data. Extract, transform, load. That's it. That's how we load the data. And sometimes what we do is extract, load, and transform. So this is ELT. So what are the validations and the things are there? There are a lot of validations which we can do, which we have been seeing this. So if you go into that, you will be understanding. So now overall, what you need to understand is what do you meant by DB testing? So DB testing always talks about the quantity and quality. As part of quantity and quality, it checks all the things, the insertion, whether the records are properly transformed, the quality of these particular records. All these things are categorized into this particular high level categories of testing. So the high level categories of testings are nothing but the basic, the data cleanliness. See, unnecessary columns shouldn't be there. It should be deleted. And the mapping documentation. So whether the proper columns are mapped to the proper things or not, and data consistency or the constraint validations. So means we do have constraint validations means, for an example, primary key. So whether every table is having the primary key to map that particular data and then get the data transfer is happening or not. And then you can see here the length of data type means I told you the example of credit card 16 digit, whether it is truncating is happening or not, and what is the data type fields. I given the number example. So whether it is only the numerics, alphanumerics shouldn't be entered into alphanumeric characters. We can enter the alphabets, only alphabets, or only numerics can it accept. So these all validations we can try to perform on this one. And whether the completeness of the data means, for example, whether is there any particular cell rejected with the data, null values and empty values will be getting it, right? Why you will get the null values or empty values? So for that one, these are the things we will be checking and comparing the records, cell wise comparisons. So these are the different categories of testings which we can perform from the DB layer and then from the point of ETL testing. So these all things, they will combine to call with one particular name. Let's just give me 1 second, please. I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is called the DB testing. All this is consolidated to call as DB and then ETL testing. So if someone is performing the DB and ETL testing, so these are the validations we need to do from the DB testing. And as I told you, that would be a separate entity. Every organization should have a DB tester separately, performance tester separately, and then security testing separately. So such a way, we will be having different set of categories of people. So in market, we will be having the different categories of people. So now for doing the UI automation, we'll have certain set of people. API automation or the backend automation, we will be having certain set of people should be there. At the same point of time, performance and security. For every layer, it is segregated with a SMEs. SME means subject matter experts. So we'll have these particular experts to suggest in a different layers, and they will have the detailed level of knowledge. See, now I was just giving you a very high level view. See, in the performance testing, I said hey, these will be there. These are the things which should be achieved. Now we have been discussed from the DB layer. So these are the things in the DB we need to validate it and how we need to validate it. So if you wanted to the detail levels of this one, so we need to have that expertise into this one. So most probably, so now the Selenium tool which we wanted to learn from this one, we will do only this layer. We will not touch this any of these layers. If you wanted to do the API automation or the backend, so then this would be our backend. So now throughout our course, out of our testing pyramid, we will learn only one layer. If you wanted to learn, there are multiple layers are there. But as of now, the Selenium is a tool which is it automates only web UI, not even mobile UI. For mobile UI, you have Appium, Selenium, Appium. You see rhyming words. Because Appium was designed on top of Selenium. Selenium is a tool. On top of Selenium, they designed the Appium. So that is how this tool is designed. This is for mobile and this is for web. So now we are trying to learn web automation. So to know means, but as part of the basics, so now we are just learning a piece of cake throughout the things. So you should understand that how you need to expose yourself and go for the different sectors. And as you go top, you would be the highly paid. So either if it is a performance testing, you would be highly paid per hour. And security testing, no one need to pay you anything. You can earn whatever you wanted. And the DB testing. So every layer will have its own value. Okay, most of the market will depend upon for these two layers. One is for UI layer and the API layer. Market 90% is for this, and 5% for performance, and 3% for DB, and 2% for security. The percentages are very less for this. Job opportunities and openings are very well in this, not only in India. So if you go for any other countries, so you go for New Zealand, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, so in US. So these two layers are the more frequently offered jobs for us. So that's the reason many of the people will concentrate more on this. But if you concentrated on this particular top level, opportunities would be less, but those are highly paid jobs. Okay, so concentrate, do more, and then track yourself. So first of all, you wanted to know any other things, so first you need to start it from here. So that is how we need to try to learn on it. Okay, so today we completed the quantity and the quality checking in the DB and ETL, and what are the basic validations. Because I can't go into the more detail. If I go, say already by this time itself, you people might be confused somewhere else. I'm trying my best not to confuse you, give the and tomorrow we'll start with the security testing. And apart from security testing, what are the other basic categories of testings are there? We will discuss about this basic categories of testing, security testing, and then this particular topic would completes by tomorrow. Then we'll go for the next topic. So here we combine two things. We discussed the layers of testing. At the same point of time, in the layers of testing, what are the different type of testings are there? That is what we have been discussed. Okay, so that's it for the day. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. And I'm sorry once again for the late. So I'll see you tomorrow.